In the cradle of civilization, between two great rivers, Babylon was born.
Babylon became a symbol of power, knowledge, and human ambition.
From the heart of Babylon was born an idea that defied nature itself, a garden suspended between earth and sky.
Stone by stone, guided only by human will, the people of Babylon shaped a dream into reality.
Pull, men! Heave! Hold it steady there! Lower it down now!
Through ingenuity and patience, water was made to climb in, breathing life into stone and dust.
Against the will of the desert, life took root, carried upward by human resolve and flowing water.
For a moment in time, humanity believed it had mastered both earth and sky.
In stone and green abundance, Babylon declared its power to the world and to the gods. To keep the garden alive, the river itself was asked to give more than it ever had before. Time, patient and relentless, began to mark even the greatest of human creations. As stone and gardens rose, the land beyond the walls quietly grew poorer. The cost of the garden was not measured only in stone and water, but in human endurance. As water was drawn upward for the gardens, it became scarce below, forcing difficult choices upon the city. When water faltered, the garden's fragile balance began to collapse.
As empires shifted and memories fade, the garden slipped quietly into silence.
Decisions made in silence within palace walls reshaped the fate of those far below.
Some believe the forces of nature reclaimed what humanity had raised against the desert. Others speak of the earth itself turning against the garden.
War and neglect finished what time and nature had begun. And then, one of the greatest wonders of the ancient world vanished from sight. What remained were words, fragile echoes of stone and green abundance.
Did the Hanging Gardens truly rise above Babylon, or were they born only in the imagination of ancient storytellers?
Scholars continue to debate, each fragment offering clues, yet no final answer.
In the absence of stone, the garden endured, in art, in memory, in myth.
Some wonders are not meant to be found again, only remembered.
Long before walls fell, trust within the city had already begun to fracture. When attention waned, even the most precise designs began to unravel.
Without careful stewardship, water no longer obeyed the paths carved for it.
Time added its own weight, pressing silently upon the stone already stretched to its limits.
When central authority weakened, the intricate balance holding the city together began to falter. Systems designed for unity began to fracture, each part struggling without clear direction.
One failure fed another, until decline moved through the city like an unseen current. Some believe the land itself changed, withdrawing the waters that had sustained Babylon for generations. Others argue that the garden demanded more precision than any system could sustain indefinitely. Maintaining the wonder may have drained the wealth that once fueled the city. As wealth and resources concentrated above, the foundations of unity below began to erode.
When knowledge fractured, mastery over the garden faded with it.
At this moment, decline was no longer a possibility, but a certainty.
The first collapses were small, but they signaled a failure spreading inward. Some spoke of the earth itself shifting, hastening what neglect had begun. As strength faded within, threats from beyond the walls grew harder to ignore.
When care departed, the garden began to forget its purpose. As stone fell silent, memory began its quiet work.
Left alone, nature reclaimed what had once been forced into order.
In time, the garden no longer belonged to stone, but to story. When people left, the garden was left without purpose. Without witnesses, even wonders can disappear.
Some legends speak of a great flood, when water rose beyond all memory. In the path of the waters, stone, soil, and human ambition were swept away alike.
When the waters receded, the garden did not return. What had been witnessed became retold, shaped by memory and fear, until history turned into legend. Thus the garden endured, not in stone, but in the shared imagination of the ancient world.